What's up, YouTube? Welcome to KO Bets. My name is Bill. What do we got on the schedule for tonight? We got terrific card to go through, UFC London tomorrow. We got trending topics, as always. Maybe we'll do a little bit of future MMA discussion. There were some good fights announced this week. Yeah, and we'll just see where the show takes us. If we get derailed, we get derailed. For everyone, so I did decide with the NFT giveaway, I'm going to do an NFT giveaway. Subscribe to participate in it. I'm going to do one at 50 subscribers, and then I'll do one at 100 subscribers, but we'll start at 50. That's a little bit closer to where we're at right now, 36 subscribers. If you're tuning in for that, that's where we're at. Just subscribe to the channel if you like UFC related content. Tell your friends about the show. Get them on board. The more the merrier as far as audience members, and would just, appreciate the shout out. I'll also put my Twitter in the channel because I've been tweeting out quite a bit of UFC related content and picks. So you can follow me there on Twitter. I'll probably be tweeting during the fights tomorrow. And yeah, without further ado, like the video, subscribe. Let's talk about last week. We had UFC Fight Night Long Island. Had a great overall night of picking fights. I think we got 4 out of the 6 underdogs picked. Matt Snell didn't get that one, and obviously the main event with Yair Rodriguez, I went with Ortega. Is what it is. Injuries happen all the time in the sport. It was only the first round. Who knows how the fight would have played out, but we lost that one. So be it. But otherwise, really good weekend last week of picking correct fights. This weekend, we got to try and beat it. I don't have as many underdogs in my predictions, but we've got a few of them. So let's get into it. Let me get this pulled up. Oh yeah, so we're in London. We're at the O2 Arena. I think it starts at 11 a.m. Central Time, so you adjust based off of that. But I'm not even sure. My DraftKings app says it starts at 10, so I guess we'll find out. I'll be ready at 10. I'm gonna have my yard work done early, and I'll be ready to go to watch the fights. So first fight, we've got Claudio Silva taking on Nicholas Dalby. I mean, probably a fight that deserves this placement on the card. Just two veterans, older guys in the sport. Claudio Silva, he's heading in as the underdog. He is great at jiu-jitsu, 2-fight losing streak heading into this. And I think he deserves the underdog odds. Nicholas Dalby, more, less of a grappler, more karate style with his approach. But he does have good movement in the octagon. We've seen, I think Claudio Silva is going to be most dangerous early. We've seen Claudio Silva kind of gas out before, especially recently in his fight. So I'm going with Locomotivo Nicholas Dalby on the money line in this fight. If we're looking at the odds makers, I mentioned Nick Dalby was the favorite. He's now minus 210. Yeah, that's what he was at when I checked. I would say that the fight probably does go the distance. The odds makers agree with me. Just because I think Dalby's going to win this, probably with a decision. And then, Claudio Silva, he is going to have the grappling advantage. If he's going to win this fight, it's got to get... It really does. It has to. Nicholas Dalby, if we're looking at losses, all 4 have been decision losses, so he's not been submitted before in his career. And if we're looking at Claudio Silva, I'm sure he's been knocked out before. No knockouts, 2 decision losses. So why wouldn't we go with the decision in this? Unless there's just a huge discrepancy as far as the stand-up game of Dalby. Claudio, I really can't see any reason why this fight won't go the distance. So I kind of like the Nick Dalby decision in this fight. We're looking at the odds, plus 140 for Nick Dalby via decision. I'm not going to lie, I've been brutal on the opening fights this year with my predictions. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those things. I'm on a cold streak as far as picking the first fight. So, seriously, if you would fade my first fight picks, you'd probably be up big because a lot of underdogs have been winning the fight. But going with Nick Dalby, I think he'll do. Who we got in the chat? Did you guys have a good weekend's betting last weekend? Let me know. Next fight, we've got Mandy Baume taking on Victoria Leonard. Mandy Baume, the monster. She's 0-1 in the UFC. Had a shaky debut against Lipski. Against Victoria Leonardo. She does have actually pretty decent experience and a nice resume. Minus the fact she hasn't beat anyone impressive. She's mostly just faced impressive people and kind of lost. Erin Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick, both in Invicta losses. Melissa Gatto and Mannion Fiorat knockouts. I don't think, obviously, Mandy Baume's at that level, but I kind of want to roll with Mandy Baume here. Part of me, we've had a couple weeks in a row here where there's been the fighter heading into the fight on a losing streak. Stolfus last week, he was 0-3 in the UFC, picked him to get his first win. And then we had there was a girl a few weeks before, she beat Jessica Rose Clark. She was 0-3 in the UFC, looking for the first win, beat Jessica Rose Clark. Victoria Leonardo, 0-2 in the UFC, kind of looking for that first victory. Is the underdog in this, plus 100, but I'm rolling with Mandy Baume. I just think she's she's going to be a little bit better on the feet as far as like technical striking, and yeah, I think her wrestling defense will show up in this fight. I think it's probably going to be a decision in all likelihood. I don't necessarily think Baume's knocking out Leonardo like she was in her last couple of fights, but I'd say it goes the distance. I'm sure the odds makers agree. Let's check. Yep, minus 200 that it does go the distance. I'm rolling with Mandy Baume for sure. I'm drinking a Moscow Mule this evening. Let's see. Mandy Baume, decision plus 150. Yeah, I mean, I think that's solid. If we're looking at stylistically how both fighters have lost, Victoria's actually never lost a decision. She's 3-0 in decisions. But if she's not able to get that grappling off, I think she's going to have a rough time. Mandy Baume, 3-1 in decisions. Obviously, lost to Ariana in her first fight. Just kind of got overpowered by a very, very strong grappler. And I don't think Victoria's... She's obviously a grappler, and that's where she would want this fight to play out. But I don't think she's the same animal as Lipsky. So rolling with Baume on the money line. Next fight, we've got Jai Herbert taking on Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson, couple year layoff, huge. I mean, there's a lot of huge underdogs. And why wouldn't you? Like, if the countrymen are winning these fights, the homeland people, they're winning these fights, like, the place is going fucking nuts, and it's incredible to watch. It's just entertaining, like, from a fan perspective, just watching the crowd over in the UK. They know how to have a good time, and I think this card's pretty littered with a lot of examples of, fights where you're going to see some heavy favorites on the card. And for that reason, we're just not picking too many underdogs this weekend. But Kyle Nelson, couple year layoff, he's carrying plus 235 odds. One fight losing streak. Billy Quarantillo beat him up pretty bad. Definitely a guy who's, I mean, and everyone kind of gasses out for his Quarantillo, but we've seen him get tired before. Jai Herbert, there's a lot to like about his stand-up game. He's very talented as a stand-up artist. He looked great against Ilia Topuria prior to just getting absolutely knocked out in the second round of that fight. But he looked good versus Topuria. He gave Topuria a lot of fits from a technical perspective on the feet, and then Topuria, I think, just like was willing to take a shot to dish one out and absolutely knocked him out. It was a bad one, and that was just that was the last time I believe they were in London. So that might have only been like 3 months ago. So it's something to keep an eye on, but I still like Jai Herbert in this. I think he's going to be a much better striker in this fight. I think he could potentially put away Kyle Nelson, especially in the later rounds. I think it's, if I'm looking at a Jai finish, maybe I would go with, maybe I feel more comfortable with like Jai in over a round and a half. I don't know. It's tough to guess. Kyle Nelson, 2 knockout losses. Diego Ferreira, Billy Quarantillo. I think if he's not going to get off any wrestling against Jai Herbert, he's going to have a tough time. If he can grapple, get this fight to the mat for majority of the rounds, it's going to be tough for Jai to put him away. But I like Jai Herbert in this. As far as the odds makers, I'm going to guess that they don't like this one to go the distance. I'm going to guess they like the Jai Herbert KO. I'm not super confident on that. Yeah, minus 330, it doesn't go the distance. Jai Herbert KO, minus 115. I mean, I like the bet just because we've seen um, Nelson get tired before in his past fights, but he has taken some time off from the sport, possibly revamped his game. And if he's just going to come into the fight with a very sound game plan, which I would say is like, pushing Jai Herbert backwards and ultimately getting against the fence and securing takedowns, like, he could have a lot of success, I think, early in this fight. But I do think he's gonna tire out, and for that reason, I'm liking Jai Herbert, and that's why I'm tempted to say like Jai Herbert and over a round and a half at plus 140, as opposed to Jai Herbert and the knockout at minus. What did we say? Minus 115. Yeah, I don't know. Just my thoughts. Don't know what you guys think. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. I like Jai Herbert in this. I would probably gonna do one of those silly round robins, and it maybe not this week actually, just because there's so many heavy favorites. It's like if I'm parlaying Jai Herbert with, let me choose one that's not like with Patty, let's say, right? If I'm parlaying Jai with Patty, it's still minus 109, right? And then you start mixing in like Muhammad into the fights at minus 520, like take out Patty, put that guy in there, minus 156. I guess it's not bad if you're maybe it's not bad. Maybe I should reconsider that idea and do a round robin. It's nice having underdogs in there that hit though, because that really accentuates 2-fight, 3-fight, 4-fight parlays, and you really start making a lot of money if you can get an underdog win on there. I love doing robins. It helps kind of mitigate risk, I think. It does kind of skew your betting in the sense like not putting more money on people you're more confident in or the lines you like more, but I think it's like a brainless and very straightforward, non-emotional way of kind of dividing up your money. So that's just my thoughts on it. You can think about round robins, but we're gonna go with Jai Herbert money line as a prop. I'm not gonna bet it over 1.5, but that's just an idea. Gave you my thoughts on Kyle Nelson. Get a little sip, my voice cracked. This is I got some pretty strong ginger beer that I mixed with vodka and lime. It tastes like a mule. For some reason I think I'm missing something and I don't know what it is. But it tastes pretty good. It's almost like too limey, so maybe I just used too much limes. I used like a lime and porter there. So maybe it's just I used too much. Next fight, we've got Muhammad Makayev taking on Charles Johnson. Charles, he's had a good pre-UFC career. This is his UFC debut, and a hell of a debut to make against Muhammad Makayev. Muhammad comes into this, he's 1-0 in the UFC. Looked great against Cody Durden. Grappler. I mean, the dude's for sure a prospect. Someone who we'll likely see in the top 10, top 15 probably in a couple fights. We'll see him in the top 10 then there after that. And as long as he can keep winning against better competition, the sky's the limit for this guy. I think he's a very good prospect. Charles Johnson, he's tough. He does a lot of things well too. Muhammad, obviously, great grappler, tremendous cardio, really good sambo. Like, a lot of things to like about Muhammad, and Charles Johnson does a lot of things well too. Not to, you know, this is a tough debut. There's no doubt about it, but he could be UFC material. I just think he's gonna have a lot of trouble keeping up with Muhammad. Muhammad is a heavy favorite at minus 520. If we're looking at the odds makers, I'm gonna say, like, if we could get Muhammad on something inside the distance, like, that might be a decent opportunity for us. I'm just gonna pull up some numbers here. Here we go. So Charles Johnson, 2 decision losses. Those are his 2 losses. And then Muhammad, as far as wins, 2 knockout losses, 3 submission losses, 2 decision. 2 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, 2 decision wins. So he's, I mean, so they don't like the fight to go the distance. I'm tempted to say that it doesn't go the distance either. I just think, yeah, Muhammad's one of those prospects. He needs to be, especially to move along and progress quickly and to get where he wants to be quickly. I just think he needs to string together some really dominant performances early in his career. So I mean, the wrestling is interesting. I think the submission is interesting there at plus 180. That's interesting. Maybe instead of betting on the money line, you know, I always like to show you what I'm thinking. It's like, I could bet $20 on Muhammad Makayev to win on the money line and win $3.80. You know, or I could bet $10. You can see it already. I could risk less and basically, you know, make the same amount, is the point I'm trying to make. It's just, so I might put a little bit on the Makayev mission. Maybe there's the double. Maybe it's more intelligent to go like KO, Makayev to win via KO or submission at plus 100. Actually, I like that much better. I don't think he's gonna KO him, but you never know with like ground and pound or whatever. I like that better. It's not that much different. So again, bet, you know, half the amount and you're walking away with more money, risking less. So that's probably something I like. I saw we just did that where we coupled his line with his money line with Jai Herbert. I'd probably be willing to explore something like him and Patty, wherever he is, minus 152. Like, just, you know, you don't need to risk so much on a minus 520. Hard to make money. You know, you can do it if you want. I'm very confident he's gonna win. John Kelly, Mint. Oh, I don't. What's in a Moscow Mule? Huh. I mean, that's clearly a mint leaf on there, Johnny. But the recipe doesn't call for it. I don't know. It's not bad. It's just very, like, limey. I think it would be better if it was maybe more gingery to the taste. All right, next fight we've got Aquan Americani. Check this guy out. Aquan Americani. This dude, I always see this picture of him with all the ladies. Kind of funny. Terrific jiu-jitsu artist, good wrestler. Taking on JSP, not GSP, but JSP, Jonathan Pierce. An interesting fight. I'm not that. So with Makwan, I'm just not super high on him. I know he had a win in his last fight. He is on a 1-fight winning streak. Submitted Mike Grundy in the first round with an anaconda choke, but then, yeah, he just was on a streak between. I mean, and they're good fighters. Arnold Allen, come on, who could blame him? Shane Burgos, saw him last weekend. Edson Barbosa, Camuela Kirk, Lerone Murphy. So some good fighters, but he was just losing a lot there for a period. And then we've got Jonathan Pierce, who's also a wrestler. I would say Jonathan Pierce is more of a guy who's going to push the pace, good cardio, ground and pound. And then Makwan is maybe, a good wrestler, but in my opinion, just kind of gets tired throughout his fights. If I would give anyone an advantage as far as the stand-up, I'd give it to probably Jonathan Pierce. It's an interesting fight because if Makwan is the better wrestler and if he's more of a submission threat, like, he could for sure win this thing inside the distance, in my opinion. But I just think over the course of 3 rounds, Jonathan Pierce is going to be the better, more active, higher output fighter. I think he is confident if the fight goes to the mat. But I think it is kind of risky, just because Makwan he's a very proficient submission artist. Out of his 17 wins, 12 of them are submissions. So he's very good there. Then John Pierce, definitely more of a ground and pound kind of guy. Does have a submission choke win in the UFC. He's got only 2 submissions. So I just think, knowing what Makwan wants to do in the octagon, you just got to be careful against him on the ground. Fight props, they don't think this fight goes the distance. I think that's a pretty good bet. I think Makwan and his gas tank have proven to be shaky in the past, so I kind of think, yeah, like the KO or even the Pierce submission is in play. I think the Makwan submission is in play. So I kind of like that bet of the fight not going the distance, almost more than just taking Jonathan Pierce straight up. I like that for the fight to not go the distance. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, there's just something about Makwan. I get like, not hating because he's good looking dude or whatever, but kind of get like Luke Rockhold vibes from him with the whole modeling aspect of his career. I just don't know. I don't know if he's like as game as Jonathan Pierce when he gets into the octagon tomorrow. I think I bet on Makwan before, and I'd just rather lose my money on if he's gonna get defeated by Makwan. I'm not putting up with that shit where he's like just tired as hell on his back trying to pull off submissions against Jonathan Pierce, and Pierce is too strong with top control or whatever. I'm not having any part of that. So I'm not putting any money on Makwan. I'll probably do that inside the distance at -200. And then maybe I just feel better putting my money on Pierce than on. The next fight we've got is Nathaniel Wood, the prospect, taking on Charles Rosta, Boston Strong. He's from Boston. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, this is a tough fight for Charles Rosa. Tough matchup. Nathaniel Wood, he's heading into this fight on a one-fight losing streak, but is kind of really good at everything. And then Charles Rosa, conversely, is, he's got a pretty decent gas tank. We saw that fight in the last. I mean, a lot of his fights have gone the distance. I think I'm thinking of maybe Damon Jackson. He really lost, but I think he's got a good gas tank from what I recall. But I just think Nathaniel Wood's the more skilled fighter, the better fighter. I mean, going with another guy from the UK, and this is what I mean when we start really getting into these odds. Is he from the UK? Did I just miss? No, yeah. Minus 600, Nathaniel Wood. And it's like, what do you do with? I think he could probably put away Charles Rosa, but Charles Rosa is he's a tough dude. No way in hell I'm betting on the Nathaniel Wood decision at minus 165. Maybe KO decision minus 450. Maybe it's similar to Jai Herbert with his opponent, just being pretty tough. Like maybe we're doing something Nathaniel Wood and over a round and a half, but even that is minus 360. It's just like gotta parlay this with someone else you're very confident in, just because it's so tough to say like if this one's gonna go the distance. I kind of think Nathaniel Wood's gonna knock him out. I think there's some value on that at plus 350 there. I'm just pulling up some of the numbers. 9 knockout wins for Nathaniel Wood. Charles Rosa, 1 knockout loss. He's 3-6 in decision, though. Wood is 3-1. Gotta like it in favor of Wood. If I think there's some lines like that if it's decision only, finish only, yeah. Of course, yeah, the odds makers already know that too. Yeah, I think we're gonna risk it on this one and probably just go with maybe I'll do KO or submission plus 215, just like a finish inside the distance. I'm probably gonna throw a little bit on that. And again, it's not like, I mean, if you're trying to win, like obviously you're better off betting on Nathaniel Wood. $20 gets you $3 back. I mean, it's just about being a little bit smarter with it. So risking less, winning more. I do think he can knock out Charles Rosa. I think he's a pretty good fighter, Nathaniel Wood. So we're going with him on the money line via the finish, the KO, or submission. Mark Diakase taking on Damir Hazovich. Mark Diakase, heavy favorite, minus 380. Going with him on the money line. He's on a 1-fight winning streak. Has good power. We saw in his last fight he was drilling takedowns. Does have the ability to take his opponent down. It was almost like, who's that against? Vyacheslav Borshev, which was for sure smart to do, to grapple with him. It was just an impressive performance. He was shooting for the takedown, so I don't think he wants to necessarily do that against Damir. I think he's just overall technically better than Damir. I think he's his stand-up punches and strikes are going to be stronger. But Damir does throw bombs. I don't know why I said Mark Diakiese's shots are going to be stronger. Like, Damir is tough, game for a fight. He's kind of well-rounded himself. I just think Mark Diakiese's better. A little more technically sound. Yeah, I mean, Damir does punch hard. No question about it. He's one of those guys you bet against and you don't feel good when you see him whiffing with punches early in the fight just because he's throwing them hard. I kind of like... I'm rolling with Diakiese on the money line. I kind of like Diakiese, 2 submission losses, 3 decision losses. Damir, 1 KO loss, 1 submission loss, 4 decision losses. I kind of like this one to go the distance. I think Mark Diakiese gets the, point strikes him up. But I wouldn't be surprised if, the fight ended with a knockout. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So maybe I would do Diakiese and like the KO or decision. I don't think he's gonna submit this guy, Damir, the KO or submission. It's not great, right? What was that? Minus 330, but it is a little bit of an improvement over 380. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Diakiese was able to score a knockout, just hit him with something clean, something quick, get out of there. Wouldn't surprise me, so just better to hedge than to be like, oh, it's for sure going to be a decision. The last fight of the prelim card, we've got Mason Jones take on Ludovic Klein. Mason Jones, who knows? I think he's very good. I think this is a great opponent for him, and Ludovic Klein. Who knows how far he'll get, but I think he's gonna win this fight. Mason Jones is against Ludovic. Mason Jones is the favorite. Again, I promise. I've got a dog or two to give you. But it's not gonna be. Unfortunately, it's not Rosa plus 450. Sorry, Mason Jones. I'm not sure if he's ever gonna be contending for a belt, but I think he's, top 15 material, top 10 material, potentially in this weight class. Super tough, sharp stand up, well-rounded, good output, competitive. There's a lot of things you like about Mason Jones, but it's always good to bet on someone who is going to bring the effort and likely put on a good performance, win or lose. Ludovic Klein, on the other hand, he's on a 1-fight win streak. Gonna be most dangerous early for sure. Also, I think a pretty good grappler. Kind of erratic and crazy in the earlier rounds, I would say, and is likely gonna be most dangerous then. But I think for sure as this fight plays out, the longer it goes, the more we're going to see Mason Jones look like he's taking over the fight, and I like Mason Jones in this. I put maybe perhaps an inside the distance. Put a note about that. Ludovic Klein, 2 submission losses, 1 KO loss, so 3 out of his 4 losses inside the distance. And then you got Mason Jones, 7 out of his 11 wins have come inside the distance. How it's going to happen, I couldn't tell you. Fight props, they don't like it to go the distance. Vegas does not. I mean, maybe the KO sub at plus 100. Maybe I do like Mason Jones and over a round and a half at minus 135. You know, just making that assumption that I'm going to see Ludovic Klein start to slow down. I think I like that one. Mason and over 1.5 rounds. I think I like the odds on that. Minus 135. Much better than, you know, just taking them straight up on the money line. However, I wouldn't be opposed to, again, just parlaying together some heavy favorites. I don't think he's going to lose to Ludovic. But, I mean, Ludovic's definitely going to be most dangerous in that first round. I can't be crying or complaining if something happens in that first round. But I'm going to go with Mason Jones. Another favorite. I promise we'll get there. Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, taking on Volkan No Time Ozdemir. Paul Craig, you know, we know what he brings to the table. He's great at jiu-jitsu, very confident, loves to use it. Kind of his fights. So I think he's on a 5-fight win streak and he has a no contest in there. It's just kind of crazy. You don't want to enter his guard, for sure. It's kind of crazy. He could have been, in my opinion, in those 6 fights, including the no contest, like he could have been like 2-4 in those. I mean, he's not the best stand-up artist. Volkan Ozdemir, he knocks people out, or he was, not too long ago. Want to pull up when his last knockout was. It was in 2019. It was against Latifi. That's not great, but he's been in there against great competition. DC, Smith, Reyes, but he's not that same fighter from 2018, 2022. Went the distance with Magomed Ankalaev. So I mean, got knocked out by Yuri. But out of his 17 wins, 12 have come via KO. I think this fight spells out inside the distance, right? Paul Craig gets cracked by Volkan. Volkan goes in for the finish, or Paul Craig grabs an arm, puts him in a triangle, gets him in an arm bar, you know, catches him in his guard, basically, and this fight gets put away. I think the smart bet in this is inside the distance, but I'm just worried that the odds makers feel the same way, and they do. Minus 360. Paul Craig's submission plus 200, and Ozdemir plus 140. So I don't know if there's one wins you 240. I mean, you could bet on them both, right? Does that make sense? Because you're betting 2, you get back 40 cents. You're betting 2, you get back $1 for either result. You know, you prefer the Paul Craig, obviously, submission there. You know, I guess that's a little bit better than... Is that even better than minus 360? 40 cents? Yeah, it's a little better. But I mean, I think Ozdemir's gonna win this. I'm going with him on the money line. I just don't think. I mean, all he does is he wins, right? And you got to give him credit for that, Paul Craig. But I don't think he's that good. And I think Volkan Ozdemir, I think he gets back on track, gets back in the win column, ends up beating Paul Craig. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of, you gotta love Paul Craig, and I can't be like, I can't pretend to be like surprised, right? If Paul Craig wins this fight. So that's why I think it's kind of smart to just do inside the distance from like a parlay or round robin perspective. I think either Paul Craig's getting knocked out or, Volkan cracks him and Paul Craig just gets him because of poor fight IQ. Gets him, trapped up in his guard. But I like inside the distance, but I'll roll with Volkan Ozdemir on the money line. The next fight, we've got Molly Meatball McCann taking on Hannah 24K Goldie. Yeah, both of these women are absolutely jacked. I mean, Goldie's more of like that, gym kind of jacked, like maybe less body fat. And Molly McCann, it's so ridiculous. She's minus 435, and you gotta like Molly McCann in this matchup. Like Hannah Goldie, she's 1-2 in the UFC. She's on a 1-fight win streak. She's probably strong. She's probably a good wrestler, but there's this just seems like on paper, especially, it just seems like a really tough matchup for her against Molly McCann, who just seems like absolutely down to throw down. Her last fight, crazy spinning elbow victory. That was against Luana Carolina. That was in round 3. I mean, I thought she was winning the fight, but she was, it was definitely, that was a crazy KO from Molly McCann. That was for sure a crazy KO. Her and Patty, the baddie, had a fun night that celebrating their. This is why I'm looking forward to this card. And then Hannah Goldie, I believe her last fight, submission, armbar. I don't think she's going to submit Molly McCann. I think this is probably a tough matchup for her. Rolling with Molly McCann here, the meatball, but as far as minus 435 odds, like you don't expect to get those odds on a fighter like Molly McCann. And that's not minus 460. That's like Valentina Shevchenko against someone. That's not Molly McCann. You're not paying minus 460 for Molly McCann. As far as the result, they like the decision. I'm sure they like it to go the distance. Yeah, I mean, it's Hannah Goldie, all of her fights have gone the distance. That elbow, though, it just, got 5 KO victories, 7 decision victories, Molly McCann. That elbow in her last fight, for sure, like, knock people out. I don't know if, I think I just like maybe rolling with Molly on the money line. Again, parlaying her with different stuff, and maybe that's where I'm destined to play this weekend, is just like 2-fight, 3-fight parlays in the round robins, where I'm just like parlaying Molly with, let's see, with Magomed. What's that look like? Minus 220. I mean, kind of fucking horse shit. Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either way if it goes the distance, or I mean, I think Molly's gonna wanna obviously perform well in front of the home crowd again and have a highlight reel finish, but yeah, it's tough to say if she'll be able to do that against Hannah Goldie. Maybe just for fun, given the environment where we're at. Again, maybe I will put a little bit on that Molly McCann KO, just because we're you did, you know, you had a certain set of inputs which resulted in the output of the spinning elbow against Luana Carolina, her last fight, and you're kind of giving her the same set of inputs against a fighter who's traditionally struggled against fighters of her style. I would say Hannah Goldie, her last fight, when she beats Emily Whitmire, that's definitely... Whitmire's just not strong like Molly McCann. She's not, more of an ectomorph like me. You know, less muscle. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Molly McCann. Maybe putting a little bit on that KO just for fun. Just because we, like I said, you know, we've seen this experiment before in London town. Next fight, we've got Nikita Krylov taking on Alexander Gustafson. Gustafson, what a boss. What an OG. Definitely not the same fighter, but I'm super excited to watch him fight tomorrow. I think... I mean, besides losing to Yuri, I mean, Gustafson might have been... Where is it? Okay, here it is. He might have been Glover's last loss, you know, before going on that title run. Oh, no, Corey Anderson was. Lost to Gustafson, beat Misha Serkinov, lost to Corey Anderson, then kind of went on his run. But, yeah, I mean, Gustafson's had a hard time. He lost to Anthony Smith, got rear naked choked. But Anthony Smith's for sure more well-rounded, I would say, than Krylov. That's just my opinion. Fabricio Verdum was up at heavyweight. Armbar submission, round 1. You know, definitely, I think it would be smart for Nikita Krylov to get this to the ground. I think if he doesn't, Gustafson is going to look pretty good in this fight. I've been back and forth on a couple of these. You know, it's whenever I'm leaning towards taking that underdog, that I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? And I'm going to roll with, I think this is a pretty even fight, especially if Nikita Krylov isn't securing takedowns consistently. Like I think Gustafson could look pretty good in this fight. I think I'm ready to say what I'm... Yeah, we're rolling with the underdog. We're taking Gustafson. Man, it just deep down it feels like a little bit of a heart and not with my head pick, you know? He's gonna need the fight standing up. I'm a little bit scared to put money on him. Not gonna lie. And then Nikita is like, he's good. But like we've seen him in a lot of close fights, and now he's in there against a veteran like Gustafson. I just think Gustafson could potentially look really good in this, and because he's carrying the underdog odds, I kind of like him, and I also think it's the right pick. I think he can figure out the Krylov puzzle. Nikita Krylov isn't undefeated by any means, 27-9. Coming off of 2 losses, lost to Paul Craig, got submitted with a triangle choke, lost to Magomed Ankalaev, lost to Glover Teixeira, lost to Jan Blachowicz. So, I mean, he's faced some really good competition, too, and lost to them. So, I mean, if he does get this fight to the mat, he could probably put away Gustafson, though. There's no question about it. So, odds makers don't like this one to go this distance. I wonder if they like the submission for Nikita. They like the KO at plus 250. That's weird. What is that, ground and pound? Maybe. I don't know. I kind of like... Maybe I like the odds like it's not going to go the distance at minus 190, but I don't know if Gustafson's putting any, or if he's just winning like on the scorecard, you know? 11 KO victories in his career. His last KO victory was 2017 against Teixeira. And then he's just been also so inactive. Hasn't fought since he fought at heavyweight against Fabricio Verdun 2020. Does train. He's part of that Sweden All-Stars team, so he does have some decent talent in there with him, but yeah, we're going with Gustafson. We're going with Gustafson. Plus 180. Let's go! The next fight, we've got Paddy the Baddy Pimblett taking on Jordan Levitt. I know Bobby wants to see Jordan Levitt win because he wants to see him do that dance that he likes to do at the end of the fights, right, Bobby? But I think betting on Jordan Levitt's kind of stupid. I think Paddy, like, he could be the better jiu-jitsu artist in this fight. I think Paddy's just gonna... He's just kind of the better fighter, right? And he's a little bit meaner. He's better as far as the stand-up game. I think he's better just in general at probably wrestling. And then I just think, he just can't get caught with some bullshit like what's that knee crank called? The heel hook, where they crank the knee. He just can't get caught with anything like that. But, I mean, Paddy sounds kind of like a little upset for some reason. Jordan Levitt's just like, he weirds me out a little bit. Obviously, his post-fight celebration is to twerk in the octagon. And, yeah, I'm going to just bet money that we're not going to see that tomorrow. So we're going to go with Paddy on the money line. I kind of like the KO. Let's see what the odds makers are thinking. If this one goes the distance, I would say probably not. Minus 250, no. The KO plus 165. Shit, do we just like... Is Paddy just gonna come out there plus 275 and just try and take his head off in round one? I kind of think so. I think that's what we're in for. It's just a fired up Paddy who's going in there, just like absolutely winning. Oh, and I was just thinking this. I'm trying to get a Paddy the Baddy moment from UFC Strike, the NFTs that I'm giving away. I'm trying to get one of those. They're doing a burn this weekend, which is where you like basically burn supply. You lower supply, demand goes up is kind of the theory behind it. And then if you're partaking these burns, they award you with a more premium card. So like the Paddy cards are starting, the NFTs are starting at $28. You have to burn 5 Paddy moments and own a Molly McCann moment, and then you get a like really nice Paddy the Baddy moment, I guess. I'm not interested in burning 5 NFT Paddy the Baddy in it. What would that be? What would the damage be on that? I mean, be like $150 or whatever, right? Do I have that math right? Yeah, I think it would be around $150. They started at 28, so you're getting like 5 of them for $28. What would that be? And then I have to get a 6th one, right? Because I want a moment, and I probably splurge a little bit and get one that was a little more expensive. So yeah, 140 at 28, and probably splurge and get something for around like $40, 180 total, and then I'd get a more premium in it. I don't know. I gotta weigh that out. It's just, especially in the bear market, crypto market, is just, you gotta be. This is where you gotta be collecting, acquiring your value, right? But Dapper and some of these drops, it's a little bit different. I don't think they're as affected. Part of the reason is because it's so new, but also they're doing pack drops where you're getting random cards, so it's like, I don't know, you're paying for an unopened pack. You're not necessarily paying for individual moments to participate. If you want like a specific moment, yeah, you got to go out and you got to pay a little bit more to get it. And I've done that with some people I saw value in. So I'll probably do that with Patty later tonight. At least get one. Like maybe get that lower serial numbered one tonight. Spend a little more, like 40 or something, and get that. And but yeah, love Patty. Patty the Batty. We're Scousers. We don't get knocked out. That's my impersonation. That was awful. Did you see his butt today? Told everyone, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Jacker Manson taking on Chris Curtis. Obviously, this was supposed to be Darren Till. And it's a bummer. Like, we haven't seen Darren Till. We haven't seen Till in a while. Oh, we saw him 2021. 2020. Yeah, I mean, leading up to that Tyrone fight, he was just... The dude was an animal. And even like Masvidal, he cracked. Whitaker, he cracked. I don't really remember the Brunson fight. I'm sure Brunson was just pumping single legs all night. Holy shit, the Cubs are winning. Fuck yeah. I got some baseball bets tonight. I'll share those with you. I had some underdog picks that I liked. I liked the Cubs, the Angels, the Mariners, the Athletics, and the Giants. Those, and then everyone else I kind of went favorites, but those were the underdogs I liked. And just I go to look at like pitchers for the day, and I compare ERAs. Try not to worry too much about try not to put too much focus on lineups, but you do a little bit have to do that. But like Giants against Dodgers, like those are two good ball clubs, right? So it's just a matter of like, yeah, the Dodgers pitcher's 10-1, but Logan Webb I think is fucking awesome pitcher. So that's an example of why I took the Giants. And they won. I think they won last night and maybe the night before. So I think I can explain my logic a little bit more in a little bit. So we've got Jacker Manson taking on Chris Curtis. Was supposed to be Darren Till. Just need to get my notes here. Chris Curtis, underdog, -105. Jacker Manson, favorite, -115. I don't know. It's basically a pick 'em, right? Jacker Manson, more of a mauler, grappler type fighter, ground and pound. Chris Curtis, probably more proficient as a stand-up striker than Jacker Manson. I think Chris Curtis, I may have bet against him 2 times out of his 3 UFC fights. I mean, the dude is... I might have bet against him 3 times. I can't remember. I could probably look right now and have a pretty good idea. Like, I bet on Brandon Allen. I know when he knocked out Brandon Allen. I don't think I bet on Rodolfo Vieira. Yeah, the submission artist. I don't think I bet on him, but I for sure bet on Phil Hawes, I believe. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to be impressed with Chris Curtis. Jacker Manson, his last loss was Sean Strickland. That's the teammate of Chris. I'm sold on Chris Curtis. Jack Hermanson hasn't exactly looked in form his last few fights, so I'm rolling with Chris Curtis on this one, the underdog pick. This is our second underdog pick of the card. I mean, it's barely an underdog, right? But it still counts. Watch, it's probably flipped already. Sometimes that's how it is. I make a pick and I make it public and I move the line, you know? I would say, so they're saying they don't like this fight to go the distance, which sounds okay. It's kind of weird. I'm not seeing the prop for no. Huh. It's kind of interesting, but they don't think it's going to go the distance. I'm guessing they like the Chris Curtis KO. Yep, plus 215. Or Manson decision. What gives? Yeah, I mean, I think Hermanson does a lot of things well. Like, if this fight plays out primarily on the mat, like, there's no doubt he could win the round and take a decision. I don't think he's putting away Chris Curtis, though. Chris Curtis, he is on a nice win streak in his professional career here. He does have one submission loss, one KO loss. We're looking at Jack Hermanson, 2 KO losses, 2 submission losses. Hermanson is down to throwdown. Yeah, it just hasn't, I don't know what it is, just hasn't looked, in my opinion, great since Cannonier. You know, he got that fight against Cannonier, was going to potentially threaten to, that was back in 2019, he was going to potentially threaten to face Adesanya in the near future, and just, you know, since that fight, he's 2-2. Lost to Marvin Vettori, lost to Sean Strickland. I think with Chris Curtis, he's moving quick, but I think there's a lot of similarities between him and Strickland. That was a split decision win for Sean Strickland, but, like, I mean, it was a bad fight, in my opinion, but Jack didn't do anything to, like, win it. And if he's not able to secure takedowns, it's going to be tough. Look at Chris Curtis, 100% takedown defense. And he's fought against good grapplers. Allen? Well, one in the UFC. Brandon Allen. No? So, I like Chris Curtis. Then we've got the main event. We've got Curtis Blaydes taking on Tom Aspinall. Again, this is one I've kind of been back and forth on, but I think I'm rolling with Blaydes, who is the underdog in this fight. Curtis Blaydes is at plus 120. The reason I'm rolling with Blaydes, I think he's a tough stylistic matchup for Tom Aspinall. I think Curtis Blaydes has high fight IQ. I think he's very aware of what he brings to the table as a fighter. He's we're going to find out who the best grappler is, especially in the top 10 of this heavyweight division tomorrow. And I'm thinking we're going to, I think it's Curtis Blaydes. I think Tom Aspinall is probably the more fluid, faster moving guy on the feet. I think he's, power, obviously possesses great power, but so does Curtis Blaydes. It's the heavyweights. Everyone does, as long as you're able to land those clean shots or hit someone when they're not expecting it. So there's a lot of things to like about Tom Aspinall. I think if this fight plays out on the feet, Tom could win this. But I think Curtis Blaydes just kind of knows who he is, knows what it takes to win fights. His only 2 losses, well, he's had 3 losses in the UFC, but 2 were to Ngannou, and 1 was to Derek Lewis. And he just kind of got caught with some shit from Derek Lewis, that uppercut, shooting for a takedown. So, I don't know. I like Curtis Blaydes in this. doesn't mean Tom can't make a run at the title still. I think this heavyweight division, the more and more fights we see, the more and more it's rounding out, and you're like, holy shit, like this is a great division now in the sport. You got Francis, you've got Cyril Gane, who's like probably the most insane heavyweight I've ever seen fight. We've got John Jones and Stipe possibly taking on each other. I don't know if that was announced yet. You got Blaydes, Tom Aspinall, Tai Tuivasa, probably forgetting someone else in the top of this division, but honestly, just turning into a really, really entertaining division. UFC heavyweight rankings. Let's check it out. Oh, I didn't mention even Derek Lewis. Alexander Volkov is obviously, probably not good enough to contend with these guys, but obviously very good. Arsenio Rosenstrike, same deal. Pretty good. Power. Tybura was looking really good till he fought Volkov. Dawkins was looking pretty good till he ran into Blaydes and Lewis. Romanov has been pretty dominant. Arlovsky can't, I don't think he's good enough to make any more title runs. So, I mean, it's a fun division. Jalton Almeida, he's been pretty scary. Give him someone in the top 20 for his next fight, and then put him in the top 15, get him into that mix. Yeah, it is kind of shallow still, though. I mean, we see, why is Stipe all the way down here, unranked? Oh, it's ineligible because he's been inactive since the Francis fight. That kind of makes sense. But yeah, kind of shallow now that I'm looking at the roster. But yeah, I mean, these top 7 to 10 guys, I think Jalton will probably find himself up there. They're really good and really kind of scary when you watch them. How they move, how hard they strike, it's pretty crazy. So let's see what the odds make. I told you Curtis Blaydes is a slight underdog, plus 115 now. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a pick'em. It is a good fight, and like if you think, Tom Aspinall has, if he's the underdog and you like, if you like those odds, like I can't blame you. I can't blame you. I like Tom Aspinall's game a lot. I just think it's a tough stylistic matchup for him. Fight props, they don't think this one goes the distance. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think if Blaydes wins, I don't really see why it couldn't be a decision. Just like a dominant wrestling decision. I don't see why it couldn't be that at plus 500. Could it be ground and pound and a knockout? Sure. Could it be a Tom Aspinall knockout? Sure. But because I'm rolling with Blaydes, I'm kind of surprised that the decision is not the plus 225 odd option here. All 3 of Blaydes' losses, knockouts. Tom Aspinall, 1 submission loss, and then he has a DQ loss. Illegal downward elbow. I mean, and he's going to be the better jiu-jitsu artist, probably the better stand-up artist in this fight. I just think Curtis Blaydes brings a, tough and dominant kind of style to this fight. Get into trending topics. Hopefully there's some see if I can get canceled today. What are the trending topics? The Red Sox Who cares? SmackDown. I think Vince McMahon just stepped down and retired because of some allegations that have surfaced against him. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It's not a good thing. The WWE kind of wrestling entertainment has traditionally been very, they dig into the social stigmas, and I don't know, you'll see like guys, and it's fake, right? But you'll see like guys beating up girls in the WWE. You'll see girls, they're kind of for sure very sexualized in that entertainment wrestling. So it's just it's unfortunate to hear, but it doesn't surprise me, just like based on what we see on television. And yeah, I mean, just look up some. I'm sure there's compilations. Like someone made a compilation of Joe Rogan, that was very unflattering. Like I'm sure there's compilations of WWE and incidents that have occurred where it's like, that appropriate? I don't know, but it's also pretty fake. On Patrol Live, true crime. Don't know what that is. I think Duran's a Boston player. Jarren Duran. He hit an inside the park grand slam after Red Sox center fielder Jarren Duran lost the ball and then didn't hustle after it. Aaron Judge. Barbs shares their excitement for upcoming music from Nicki Minaj after rapper's latest tweets. I'll be choosing 10 people. I'll announce who you are on Queen Radio on 8/11. No. What is that? I'm not telling how I'm choosing. No, I'm not telling why either. I love you, always have, always will, Unicorn. New single, Freaky Girl. I don't know. Thank goodness she's releasing music, right? Seppi Art Party? What is this? Okay. So I was at this networking event downtown in Chicago on Tuesday, and I met this really interesting guy. He was the photographer, and he was interesting to talk to. But I don't know. He's just kind of, he had like I don't want to make fun of him, but he was like, yeah, he was into like anime shit, and he was in graphic design and was doing all that stuff. And he's like, he had like one of those phones that like opens up. I haven't seen this. It's Samsung. They make it though. It's like a phone and it opens up. It's like square shaped and the screen's huge. Like, go ahead, press the center. And so I click it, and it's just like an anime chicken like lingerie kind of pops up. And he's like, all right, next one. So I click it again, and it's like a similar picture. Like, I got a whole bunch of them. So I just started like tapping on the screen, and yeah, that's like what he does. Is he's into doing that stuff, and it was just kind of it was for sure interesting. Cash App and Wild. Hey yo, please bless me today. Haven't heard my Cash App go off in months. This is like the modern day version of standing on the corner of a red light. Holderman trending with Vogelbach. So probably someone in baseball. Mets acquire Vogelbach for the... Oh, nice. I mean, he was a Cub. He's pretty decent. There was something I wanted to talk about that maybe wasn't trending, but let's just get into MLB.com. I shared the underdog picks. We just need to get a score update here. Damn. So the Cardinals losing, Cubs winning, Yankees winning. I picked the Mets because they had Scherzer going. They're losing. Toronto, what the fuck? 25-3? Are you kidding me? I took Toronto. They had Gossman pitching. He's been really solid. Hasn't necessarily been getting wins. I went with the Angels, who were the underdog, because they had Shohei Ohtani pitching. I don't need to watch it. I just want to see the box score. So I also bet Scherzer would have 8 Ks or more. The box score. Scherzer strikeouts. It was over 7.5. 7.5, so he got 8. Got pulled out of there. Here it is, and I parlayed that with Shohei over 7.5 Ks. 9, baby! Let's go. Nice. Took Tampa to Cleveland. Cleveland was an underdog. That was another underdog pick. Took Milwaukee. I wanted to do Burns over 7.5 strikeouts as well, but he was the only problem. It was 8.5 for him. So yeah, and he's only at 3. So I'm kind of glad I didn't. I took Arizona. I said I took Oakland, taken Seattle, and I took Miami and San Fran. So pretty good. It looks like the only ones looks like we're probably gonna lose is that St. Louis Cincy game. Oh, and probably San Diego is gonna win. But happens. Cool. And then let's see. I think I'm gonna probably wrap up the stream here just because I've been talking for a while. It's been almost an hour and a half show. But I think we're gonna probably do an NFL related show where we're getting into NFL picks. I'll try and just bring something unique and different to the table. Didn't do a whole lot of research last year, so I definitely want to, in order to help kind of grow the channel, I want to definitely, just put in the effort. Like, it's one thing, like, if I'm betting my own money or whatever, but if I'm betting, other people are following my bets, I just owe it to them to be a little more, just put a little more effort in with the picks. I'm going to go ahead and really quickly, I'm going to just put it on this screen for a second. I'm logging into my UFC Strike. I don't need any eyeballs checking out what I'm doing. You know what I mean? this is what I'm giving away to my supporters. So I just want to pull this up because I don't know if I've ever really done this before, but I have, I think, I would say another 6 to 9 moments that are waiting to get transferred over from a different account. I just made a goof up and signed in under a different email, and then I'm just trying to get them synced up, and it's taking a really long time. But I have some cool moments over there, like Yuri, and I don't know. I remember I have a Yuri moment over there, so it'll be kind of fun when those show up. But today I pulled, let's see. Oh, I pulled a Jan moment. I'm not sure which one I got today, but I had purchased one just because I thought it was a reasonable price. I probably bought this one, 3927. This was one I probably pulled. Today I pulled, Molly McCann, number 100. That's a pretty good serial number. That's honestly, that's one of the best serial numbers I've had ever. Pull it up here. This is the KO she had in her last fight. Ooh. Brutal. And then I got a pretty cool one. Oh yeah, this one. Tom Aspinall. This one's a little more rare. This was against, I think, Sergey Spivak. Yeah, just this nice knee into an elbow, and was able to put him away. So, yeah, the Patty moment, I've been trying to, so this kind of explains the burn, what you have to do, but, yeah, I think just upon getting 50 subscribers, I've just want to show everyone I've got them. I'm not fibbing with you. Definitely, you know, there's ones I want to keep, but there's definitely ones I'm just interested, especially the duplicates as I acquire them. I'm just interested in sharing with them with people who support my channel. So if you follow me, you'll for sure be entered for a chance to win this. I'll choose one random subscriber upon 50 subs. Now we can add Jan into that mix. That's a pretty exciting one. Yeah, so kind of cool. And then as far as my Dapper collection, you can see here it is. NBA Top Shot. I've got 49 Top Shot moments, NBA Top Shot moments. Just like, this is how I got into it. You know, Top Shot was going basically crazy, and so I kind of got into it. And I was like, oh, this would be so cool if they did a UFC one, and it was supposed to be like UFC Flow or something. And then this year they started doing or maybe it was last year, they started doing UFC Strike moments. So I've just been participating. These are some of my NFTs that I own. I would say once those other 6 to 9 NFTs get over here, I'm doing pretty good as far as Dapper moments, for sure. So if you're interested in participating and winning, I don't think I even... Alright, let me just show you again. I know I just talked through it. How embarrassing. I was just talking, I forgot I exited the screen just to make sure people weren't checking out my login info. I got 29 moments here. I got like another 6 or 9 that are going to come over. And then I was just showing everyone from there my inventory, just how I've been participating in the NBA Top Shot moments as well. And I've got 49 of those. Oops. Here we go. Just various like Top Shot moments. So, I don't know how these are arranged. Oh, here we go. So we got like Steph Curry here. And so how I'll basically do this is I'll, we can connect our wallet and I can send it over to you. You'll have to make an account or send me a wallet address, but that's how I'll transfer it over to people. So I just wanted to, at least share with people. I've got the moments. I've been tweeting about them for like half a year now, and I don't think I've ever logged on to show anyone. So I appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Good luck with the bets tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter. I'll definitely post some pics there. None of that like paywall shit either, so I'm not that big yet. Maybe one day, but for the OGs, it'll always be free. So have a great Friday night evening, everyone. I will talk to everyone next week. Peace. Pull up this music. I like the song, by the way, that I played earlier.